Hello fellow boatlings, I am Reaver Jolt and welcome to another video. It's pretty early, I kind of woke up not long ago, but hey, here I am. I'm back making YouTube content. I kind of want to let you know about something, because this is sort of a public service announcement, or something like that, I don't know. But there has been something that I thought, but wasn't actually the case, and that is what we're looking into. And that is in regards to how big the monster roster is in Monster Hunter Stories 2. You can see me in game here. I'm actually playing the demo of this right now, although I have finished a bunch and I have completed the demo already. But I will say, if you are someone who doesn't want to know about the monster count or the Monstie count for Monster Hunter Stories 2, I would suggest clicking off the video now so that you can actually get in and know for yourself. With all that out of the way, let's actually jump right in. So if we open our menu here and then go to the second page, go to field guides. We'll look at Monstiepedia in a bit, but we'll look at Monsterpedia first. Now, you may notice that when I go to the last page here, it says 217. You would think that there's 217 monsters in the game, right? Well, let me show you something. So it starts off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and whatnot. The numbers on the icons are correct up until 111. Between 111 and 201. This is where things get really confusing, because then you start thinking, you know, without actually doing the counting, that there's this amount of monsters. But in actuality, that is not the case. If you look at the top right of your screen, right where the R button is on the upper right corner, you can see that there is a little head icon next to some numbers. There's 13 out of 128. That is because there's not 217 monsters, but instead 128 monsters in the game. Now, if we go over to the Monstiepedia, you can see the same thing being done here. Only this time it's much worse, since the numbers are all of a sudden out of order when you look at the Monstie count. For example, Aptonoth is 1, Velocidrome is 5, Kulu-Yaku is 6, Yankaku is 9. You get the idea. The counting doesn't actually start until 20. It goes from 20 and then it counts correctly up until 125. Now, I don't know why Capcom did this, why they put this number count on all these Monsties when the actual number is 81 on the top right. That leads me to believe that some Monsties from the first game may not actually make it into this game, which will definitely be a bummer, but that's just my speculation at this point. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and that is the actual Monstie count and the actual monster roster count. Now, you can see on the top right corner the actual amount of Monsties that are actually in the game. If I pull out my calculator... Hold on, let me actually pull out my calculator. Now, the actual Monstie count for the first game was 61. 62 if we count Glavenus, because Glavenus was a DLC monster. That wasn't really registered in the Monstiepedia of the first game, so he didn't really count. But I am counting him because he is a Monster Hunter monster. We're not counting the other DLC monsters that aren't Monster Hunter. So there's 81 Monsties in Monster Hunter Stories 2. So if we take 81... and subtract 62, that pretty much leaves us with 19 new Monsties. And by new Monsties, I mean returning Monsties that were never in the first game. Now, if we go to the Monsterpedia, the one above the Monstiepedia, there's 128 monsters. Now, this is just speculation here. There is still a chance that some of the Monsties from the first game may not actually make it to Stories 2, but we don't even know yet, because some of the monsters from the first game haven't even been confirmed yet, or, you know, confirmed to be or not be in the game. If we include the entire roster, yet again, from Stories 1, the entire roster from Stories 1 was 108 monsters. That is not including the final boss from the first game and not including the Great Poogie. Now, I don't know if the Great Poogie is in the game or not, because I haven't seen any Poogies in the actual demo that you can collect. So I don't even know if that's a thing. But let's do the math again. So 128 minus 108. That leaves us with basically 20 new monsters. 19 of them are Monsties, and one of them is not a usable Monstie. Yes, I know it's disappointing. It's not 125 Monsties, it's 81 Monsties, and it's not 217 monsters, it's 128 monsters total. But I do have to admit that it is a little disappointing that the Monstie count is 81 and not 125. That would have been so cool. I myself fell victim to the actual Monstie count here, because I only looked at the number on the icon and not the number on the top right. So don't get fooled by these numbers so that you don't get too disappointed by the roster. And that's going to be it for the video, guys. If I ruffled some feathers out there for the actual monster count, I'm sorry, but if it makes you feel any better, I was fooled by the fake Monstie count, so don't even look at these numbers. Just look at the top number on the top here. And with that, thank you very much for watching. Be kind to one another, and have a most wonderful day.